Hey Rockstars, happy February, yay! Time to start vaLITines. I'm a bookish person, I read a lot. So here's the deal. A lot of people don't love Valentine's Day. I super love it. Valentine's Day can be about celebrating anything that you are passionate about. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is books. I'm going to be doing vaLITines. It's a bookathon. I think it's new this year. There's a bingo card for vaLITines and it's run by a couple of really awesome people. This is my TBR, like my to be read, but it's really more a CBR, which is a could be read, and a PBR, which is not beer, part of what will be read. Because I'm going to be traveling to VidCon in London, I'm going to see if I can do some bookish things from vaLITines while I'm traveling in the UK. These are the books I've chosen that would work for the challenges that I have access to currently. This may not be comprehensive. Instead of reading you all of the challenges from the entire bingo card, I'm just going to tell you about some of them. A lot of the books that I have are AVRs. They're advanced reader copies. I live in a city where there's a lot of advanced reader copies floating around, so that's what I got to say about that. This is an uncorrected proof of a book called Love a la Mode. I chose this one for the category heartwarming. It's about these two people who meet while they're cooking and traveling in Paris, and it just sounded like a light, nice read from Hyperion. Take 2 teen chefs, add 1 heaping cup of Paris, and toss in a pinch of romance and stir. It's weird to think about putting all of those things into like a baking situation, but there you go. It's pretty much just structured to be a heartwarming book. A nice, fun, light read by Stephanie Kate Strom. A Forgotten Love. This is a book that you've DNF'd that you did not finish. This book is not yet rated. It is another YA book. It's another advanced reader copy. High fidelity feels. It's about a kid who works in a theater, one of those old junky movie theaters that's just kind of closing, but it's where his heart is, and it talks a lot about like the world of cinema and kind of a nostalgic feeling. Yeah, by Peter Bognani or Borgnani. I really enjoyed this splash cover they put on it with all the like junky food stuff. I never worked at a movie theater, but I had friends who did when I was growing up, and they often talked about the experience of like theater world as having a lot to do with like excessive amounts of popcorn. Like I definitely once went to a movie theater with one of my friends that worked there, and he showed up with a trash bag that was full of popcorn. Like ridiculous. So there's kind of this like sticky, sweet underbelly to like theater world, and I think this cover is a really good representation of that. And I also like strategically placed food items here. Like it's kind of like a garbage flat lay. One of the books I'm going to be reading is Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes. It is a book I've been interested in reading since I first heard about it. How I started making YouTube videos was kind of just saying yes to opportunities that happened, and it's been part of the internet magic of what's happened here. And I watched both Grey's Anatomy and I watched all of Scandal. I thought it would be really fun to read this, to get to know a little bit more about Shonda and who she is as such an important figure in media in general, and as such a total girl boss. New York Times bestseller. And also, like, can we just take 1 second to talk about how great this picture is? Author photo is its goals. So I am ready to say yes to throwing Year of Yes into my TBR. This is the one I'm reading for the Black History Month challenge for vaLITines. One that is beautiful on the shelf. A lot of the books that I've already shown you, I've actually expressed that I think that they're very beautiful, but this one undeniably is so. I think the first time I picked up Etiquette and Espionage, which has been sitting on my shelf for a while, partially because of the way it looks. The other reason is because Gail Carriger is a wonderful writer who I'm quite fond of, and I've known him for a long time. And spoilers, we will get into more Gail Carriger stuff in the future. That is an absolute promise. When that happens, I will link it up above. I've never read any of her finishing school books. This is the first one. It's called Etiquette and Espionage. There's even a book trailer video for this that I will link down below. You guys can check that out if you're interested. I love fashion, very Victorian, steampunk, fantastic pinkness. So cover. Puppy Love is a middle grade book. She Loves You, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah is a very important part of a very important Beatles song, and that's exactly what's going on in this book. It's very much a middle grades book. You can tell by spacing and by the way the words are laid out. This will be a super fast read. As someone who also writes, part of what I choose when I choose the books I'm going to go through is what their relevance is to me on a developmental level. It's really about that time period when the Beatles were really becoming a big thing, and like the Vietnam War was raging on, and I thought what an interesting thing to tackle in a middle grades way. Oh, and it says interestingly enough that Anne has loved the Beatles since she saw them on the Ed Sullivan Show, which is kind of part of how they became so big in the US. And I am back into doing my mixtape project called Mixed with Care. That's at www.mixedwithcare.com, which is where I listen to cassettes and consider the role of music in my life. And I thought, what a fun thing to throw into that like musical space and in putting music back into my life in 2019. A lot of the things that are listed on the bingo card are challenges. I like to take prompts and kind of turn them on their head, and I love the idea of taking booktube space and turning it into creative projects. That will happen across my social media. For sure, I will be tweeting about things as I do them, hashtag vaLITines, but I will also probably be doing some of these projects on Instagram. That's all at Amara in Seattle. In fact, I'm Amara in Seattle all over the internet, so really easy to find me. The prompt to the ends of the earth is for a book that has been translated, The Essential Rumi. This was translated by Coleman Bark. It's a new expanded edition, a definitive Rumi tome. Rumi is rather well known for being like a romantic poet, so I'm hoping that there will be some Valentine's Day feels here, and I'm really looking forward to what will happen when I dig into this one. The book that I'm doing for the 5-star challenge, which is one that has been recommended to you by someone who gave it 5 stars, is actually from one of the people who's throwing vaLITines, Kathy Tryhard, good dear friend Kathy. We knew we were gonna both see each other at PodCon, so I said, hey Kathy, would you mind bringing me a 5-star book that you loved? And she did. She brought a book over on a boat to me so that I could be able to read it and share my experience with you. The second day, I had no time to read on the first until about 9 p.m. It's 1:21 on Saturday, and I want you guys to see what I've done. All of this, for me, this is pretty fast reading because I'm also a copious note taker, not in Kathy's book. Alice Oseman's Radio Silence is a phenomenal book, perfectly well chosen for me. There are bits of it that have to do with YouTube, which is a big part of my life. There are bits of it that have to do with podcasts. It's also a book that deals a lot with identity, diversity, generally the idea of choice in a society where things are really public, and it has been a fascinating read. I am thrilled to say that there are things I think I've pulled from this that will be applicable to writing that I'm doing. It's just been an absolute delight. I've really enjoyed this story of lots of different kinds of love, and I think that's also something really wonderful to bring to vaLITines. Where You Go, I Go is a challenge to take a book with you and read it throughout the day and all the different places that you end up in kind of weird locations, and for that I'm taking a small little pocket copy of Terry Pratchett's The Color of Magic. I've never read The Color of Magic. It is one of my best friend's favorite book series. I have, however, run into many Terry Pratchett quotes in my life. It's a smaller book. I think it'll be a fast read, and I own a number of the next books in this series. He's a writer of significance. I really want to understand this whole turtle thing better. The More to Love challenge is for a book that is 400 pages or more. I feel like I'm cheating because this is a cozy read mystery book, but it is Once Upon a Grind. It is a coffee house mystery. I love coffee. I'm a Seattle girl. These are books that I tend to read kind of casually. There's also a challenge that has to do with a bubble bath, and this might be part of that one. I could see myself very much deciding to read this partially in the bubble bath, which is something I kind of love. It's like an Agatha Christie bubble bath. There's a lot of them. This one happens to be about a gal who has a coffee shop. 400 and some pages. 448, it meets the criteria for that. Ooh, also look, like internet magic in the cup. That's pretty cool. Sparkles. Ooh, hashtag Amara loves sparkles. Because I do. Happily Ever After refers to a retelling of a fairy tale. I have been sitting on Geekerella for a long time. I've had a copy of it for a long time, and it really is time for me to actually completely dig into it. So it's time, Geekerella. You and I are going to finally happen. I think I might have even Instagrammed about Geekerella. A fun retelling of, well, Cinderella. But also, like, the Magic Pumpkin vegan treat, like, what is happening there? And it also has some sparkles. This was not planned. Maybe I just gravitate towards shiny things, like a bowerbird. And this one's by Ashley Poston, who is a fangirl from South Carolina, which I get, because I grew up in North Carolina. I get that world. The kind of counterpiece to the, like, More to Love is the Skinny Love book. Really wanted to make sure that something that I read this month was about video creation, because it's such a big part of what I'm doing in 2019. This is How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck, a book by Steve Stockman. It is 248 pages, but I'm gonna let it slide. Well, look at that. I'm through 39 pages of it already, so we're gonna just count the pages going forward. I love reading as a thing that is just for fun. I also like reading for learning, and I want to make sure I'm doing something that is like kind of classic scholastic learning that's relevant to you too. Living Single is for a standalone book, which is a weird thing to use an anthology for, but these are standalone stories. It's called Fresh Ink. It's another AVR, and I really like the idea of this one. As a writer, I really really wanted to make sure I tackled this one. Short stories by 13 award-winning and best-selling authors, 12 label-defying stories. Edited by the co-founder of We Need Diverse Books. The diverse books are not just like a good idea, but a super important idea. So I'm increasingly interested in making sure there are varied voices that are making their way into what I do in a bookish way. Amped about this too. Amped about everything. I'm an amped person, just in general. If you're doing vaLITines, let me know in the comments below. This is my vlog channel, Amara in Seattle Vlogs, where absolutely everything's an adventure. It is kind of a companion piece, an extra piece to my main channel, which is Amara in Seattle. I love taking things like book readathons, like conventions, like everyday excitement and travel, and seeing if I can put a really unique spin on them. If that sounds like fun to you, please feel free to subscribe. Feel free to join us on the adventures that are Amara in Seattle world. We have a good weird time. I'm really excited about this booktube-ish project for vaLITines, and I'm gonna let you guys know ahead of time, since you stuck around this long, that I'm going to do a single video like mashup of my overall experience as a like master video that will end up on the main channel, Amara in Seattle, as one of the weekly videos, which come out on the weekends. You can like up this video if you like the idea of tackling something in a way that is entirely your own bizarre take on it. And also, let me know in the comments below, if you're taking part in vaLITines, let me know one of the books you're most excited about tackling. And if you're not taking part in vaLITines, let me know about a book that you're hoping to read or you're interested in 2019. So reading Rockstars, I'm gonna get back to trying to knock this book out, and then I have a video to edit for the main channel today. Bye y'all! So I wanted to, hi Mika, I'm such a bookish person, I have a cat that's chimichangas with stars. Mika's having her running time. Happily ever ever. Yeah.